There are 3 spells so unspeakably dark that every magical government has banned them outright. They are known simply as the Unforgivable Curses, and Lord Voldemort cast all 3 without a second thought. These curses inspire terror for good reason. Each one is a one-way ticket to Azkaban if you dare use it. But beyond the legal doom, one has to ask, what do these cursed spells really do? Not just to the victim, but to the soul of the witch or wizard who wields them. Avada Kedavra, the killing curse. 2 words that end a life in an instant. This curse strikes like a bolt of green lightning. One flash of sickly emerald light and it's over. There's no pain, no time to scream, and there is no counter-curse, no blocking it. If Avada Kedavra hits you, you simply die. The only defense is not to get hit, or to have some ancient magic on your side, as in one very rare case. Only one known person has ever survived the killing curse, and that was Harry Potter. As a baby, Harry was saved by the sacrificial protection of his mother's love, causing the curse to rebound off him and strike Voldemort instead. Harry was left with only a lightning-shaped scar, while the Dark Lord's body was destroyed by his own spell. For everyone else, Avada Kedavra kills instantaneously and leaves no mark on the body. It's so clean that Muggle doctors would be baffled, as happened when the Riddle family were found dead with not a scratch on them, just expressions of terror frozen on their faces. But the killing curse has another price, one the victim never lives to see, a price paid by the caster. To deliberately end a life with magic is an act against nature and humanity. It's said that committing murder with a curse rips apart the murderer's own soul. Lord Voldemort knew this well. He committed murders to shatter his soul into pieces, using those fragments to pursue immortality. In essence, when a wizard casts Avada Kedavra, they aren't only extinguishing someone else's life, they are mutilating their own spirit. A piece of the caster dies along with the victim. If the killing curse is mercifully swift, the Cruciatus Curse is the opposite. It is cruelty in its purest form, Crucio. This curse doesn't kill, at least not directly. Its purpose is torture. When the Cruciatus Curse strikes, every nerve in your body explodes with agony. Victims say it's like being set on fire from the inside, like white-hot blades are stabbing into your skin. Under the Cruciatus, seconds feel like hours. Prolonged exposure can drive a person mad, literally shattering their mind beyond repair. One of the most infamous cases. After Voldemort's first downfall, Bellatrix Lestrange and a few of her allies captured the Aurors Frank and Alice Longbottom. They subjected the couple to unending Cruciatus curses until the victims' minds broke. The Longbottoms were left permanently insane, spending the rest of their lives in a hospital ward, not even recognizing their own son. That is the legacy of the Cruciatus Curse. Pain so extreme that it destroys who you are. Casting this curse requires something horrific from the wizard as well. It's not enough to shout the incantation. You have to mean it. You must truly want to inflict pain, with every vicious fiber of your being. If there's any pity or hesitation in your heart, the curse will falter. Harry Potter learned this firsthand. Once, in a fury of grief, he tried to cast Crucio on Bellatrix Lestrange. The spell hit her and she fell, but only for a moment. It didn't truly hurt her. Bellatrix just laughed at Harry's attempt. She mocked him, saying he would have to really want to cause pain to enjoy it for the curse to work. In that moment, Harry's righteous anger wasn't enough. He lacked the cruelty the Cruciatus demands. Indeed, to wield Crucio, the caster must surrender to pure sadism. They have to take pleasure in the victim's suffering. That is a terrible transformation, even if it lasts only moments. Little wonder that the curse leaves a stain on anyone who uses it. Years later, Harry did successfully cast Cruciatus, in the heat of battle, after seeing a beloved teacher spit upon, his fury momentarily as dark as any Death Eater's. It worked. His enemy collapsed, screaming, and Harry felt that burst of cruel satisfaction, immediately tempered by shock. He had proven to himself what Bellatrix said was true. To cause unbearable pain, you must tap into something truly ugly within yourself. The Cruciatus Curse forces you to become, even briefly, the very thing you're trying to fight. Now we come to the third and subtlest unforgivable, the Imperius Curse. Imperio. This one isn't about pain or death, it's about dominion. The Imperius Curse hijacks the victim's free will. With a whispered imperio, the caster slips into the victim's mind and takes complete control of their actions. What's especially insidious is that the curse doesn't feel frightening or torturous to its victim. It feels wonderful. Those under the Imperius Curse drift in a dreamlike euphoria, blissfully unconcerned that their every move is now commanded by someone else. It's a wonderful release from all responsibility, as some have described, making it all too easy to obey. While entranced by Imperius, a person will do anything they are told. Anything. They might cheerfully murder their own friend if ordered to, or jump off a building with a smile on their face. Their sense of right and wrong is completely clouded by unnatural contentment. It is absolute mental slavery, made even more sinister by the victim's blissful ignorance of their own violation. During the wars, Voldemort's followers used Imperius like a stealthy weapon. Why fight an Auror when you can Imperio them and turn them into your pawn? Into your unwitting ally? In the First Wizarding War, many witches and wizards in positions of power fell under the Imperius Curse, their minds puppeteered by Death Eaters to serve the Dark Lord's agenda. The Ministry of Magic itself was not immune. Officials were controlled, laws subverted, all under the smiling guise of loyal employees who were secretly slaves. After Voldemort's initial defeat, when the curse finally lifted, some captured Death Eaters claimed that they had only served him because they were under Imperius themselves. It was a common excuse. And occasionally, it was even true. Such was the atmosphere of fear around the Imperius Curse, that almost anyone could claim, "I was Imperius," and it was hard to prove otherwise. The curse had become a convenient ghost to hide behind, as well as a very real threat. Resisting the Imperius Curse is possible, but extraordinarily difficult. The curse works by drowning you in false joy and robbing you of the desire to fight back. Only those with exceptional strength of will can snap themselves out of that blissful haze. Very few individuals have managed it. Harry Potter did, as a fourth-year student no less. In a defense against the dark arts class, Harry threw off the Imperius Curse that his teacher, who was secretly a Death Eater in disguise, had cast on him, shocking everyone in the room. Harry described the experience, the distant voice telling him to do things, the almost overpowering sense of calm that tempted him to just float along, and the surge of resistance in his gut that said no. He fought that curse and won. His teacher even shouted in gleeful surprise to the class, applauding Harry and saying, "They'll have trouble controlling you." Indeed, few minds could have resisted what Harry resisted that day. Another case was Barty Crouch Sr., a tough ministry official who had been Imperiused by Voldemort's followers. He eventually broke free of it through sheer grit, though the effort left him shattered. Most victims, however, stand no chance. Under Imperius, the average witch or wizard becomes a contented pawn, ready to execute their master's will. To everyone else, the true horror comes later, when the curse is lifted, and a person realizes that their hands committed crimes that their heart would have abhorred, if only it had been their own. How long have these dark curses existed? The Unforgivable Curses didn't get their infamous label until relatively recently in magical history. But the spells themselves are ancient. No one knows exactly who first devised them. We do know they were already around in the Middle Ages. In fact, Salazar Slytherin himself, one of the founders of Hogwarts 1,000 years ago, knew of these curses and wrote about them in his spellbook. In Slytherin's time, they were not yet unforgivable. They were simply dangerous spells, to be taught or not at a wizard's discretion. By the 1700s, however, the wizarding world had realized how terrible these curses truly were. In 1717, the British Ministry of Magic officially classified the Killing Curse, Cruciatus, and Imperius as unforgivable, attaching the harshest penalties to their use. Other magical governments around the world soon followed suit. For more than 300 years now, using any one of these spells on a fellow human has meant life imprisonment. To this day, if Aurors catch you casting an unforgivable curse, you're basically finished. Your wand is confiscated, and you're led straight to a cell in Azkaban. But where did these curses really come from, and why are there only 3? This drifts into speculation and legend. Some believe that the Unforgivables were not so much invented as discovered, that they are fundamental evils in magic that have always been there, waiting for someone to unleash them. Consider the incantation Avada Kedavra. It comes from an ancient language, Aramaic, meaning, "let the thing be destroyed," and was originally a spell for curing illnesses. At some point, dark wizards twisted its meaning to destroy people instead of sickness. Perhaps all three unforgivable curses have similar origins: ordinary magic perverted by extreme evil intent. Others suspect that certain unspeakably dark sorcerers of old created these curses deliberately. Maybe an infamous sadist invented Cruciatus to satisfy his bloodlust, or a power-hungry warlock crafted Imperius to build an army of mind slaves. We don't know the truth. The origin of the Unforgivables is lost to time, buried in the darkest chapters of magical history. What we do know is that in all the centuries since, no new curse has joined their rank. There are countless dark spells and terrible jinxes out there. Yes, curses that maim, or kill indirectly, or torment in specific ways. But none are so universally feared and reviled as these three. Why not a fourth, unforgivable? Perhaps because no other spell manages to tick all the boxes. Instant death, endless agony, absolute mind control, the total subjugation of a human being. Those three cover the worst violations imaginable. It's hard to conceive of a new curse, more evil than the power to kill with a word, to torture with a word, or to enslave with a word. For that reason, the trio of unforgivable curses has remained unique. They are the ultimate forbidden spells, the line that wizardkind swore never to cross. At least, not without dire consequences. What makes these curses so different from other dark magic? Plenty of spells can hurt, or even kill. Wizards duel with dangerous curses all the time. But the unforgivables are set apart by their absolute and irredeemable effects, and the intention required to cast them. These curses don't merely harm you, they take something from you that can't ever be given back. If you're struck with Avada Kedavra, your life is gone in a heartbeat. There is no healing, no counter-curse, no last words. If you're tortured by Cruciatus, the damage to Sation Mawr, your mind and spirit may be permanent. There's no cure for madness caused by magical torture. And if you're put under Imperius, you've lost your free will. Even if you survive, you might have done things under that curse that will haunt you forever. Each unforgivable curse represents a total breach of a fundamental human right: the right to life, the right to physical and mental integrity, the right to one's own will. That is why the magical world deems these curses unforgivable. Using one isn't like using a normal spell, it's crossing a moral event horizon. You've done something truly beyond the pale. In fact, the very name unforgivable hints that whoever uses such a spell has done an act that can never be fully forgiven. Beyond the horror these curses inflict on victims, there's also the moral cost to the caster. To cast any of the unforgivables, a witch or wizard must summon genuine evil intent, the desire to kill, to cause agony, or to dominate utterly. That changes you. As Dumbledore famously explained, murder tears the soul. And while killing is the worst example, dipping into any kind of true cruelty or tyranny leaves a mark on a person's spirit. The more willingly you embrace that darkness, the more it consumes you. Perhaps this is why Aurors and members of the Order of the Phoenix, decent people, very rarely resorted to unforgivable curses even when fighting Death Eaters. It wasn't just the law holding them back. It was a recognition that fighting evil with evil exacts a toll. During Voldemort's rise, the Ministry did authorize Aurors to use unforgivables in the field, out of desperation, but even then, not all could bring themselves to do it. Those who did, like Alistair Moody, were forever hardened by it. Moody certainly took down many dark wizards, and if rumors are true, he killed at least a few using their own lethal methods. He emerged victorious, yes, but he paid a price in paranoia and scars, both external and internal. On the other side, the Death Eaters used unforgivable curses readily and gleefully, and look what it turned them into. Heartless monsters, every one of them. Voldemort's soul was so shattered by years of murder that he was barely human in the end. Bellatrix Lestrange, after a lifetime of inflicting pain, was a cackling madwoman who knew nothing of love or mercy. When you cast an unforgivable curse, you hand a little piece of yourself over to darkness. Do it enough, and there's nothing left to hand back. Over the years, a grim roster of witches and wizards have dared to use these cursed spells. and many paid with either their lives or their sanity. Yet some notable figures survived their flirtations with unforgivable magic. Lord Voldemort, of course, stands at the top of the list. He employed all 3 unforgivable curses as easily as other wizards flick a light switch. Killing Curse, Cruciatus, Imperius. They were tools to him, means to instill terror and obedience. Voldemort's survival for a time after so much dark magic is an anomaly. He only managed it by literally anchoring his mutilated soul to objects. Typically, a dark wizard as steeped in evil as Voldemort would either be killed by a retaliatory strike, or perhaps self-destruct from within. Voldemort almost did self-destruct the night he tried to kill baby Harry. A rebound of his own Avada Kedavra nearly annihilated him. But through dark rituals, he clung to a cursed half-life and returned. He is a case study in what repeated use of unforgivable curses can do. His soul shattered, his humanity gone, and ultimately his hubris led to his downfall. Then there's Bellatrix Lestrange, Voldemort's fiercely loyal lieutenant. If Voldemort was the most prolific killer, Bellatrix was the most sadistic torturer. She is infamous for the Longbottom incident, but that was far from her only crime. Occasions, usually with great reluctance. During the height of the war, several Aurors admitted to casting killing curses in life-or-death fights with Death Eaters. These were not acts of murder for gain or pleasure, but desperate measures in combat. Some of those Aurors survived the war and returned to normal life, carrying the burden of what they'd done. Alistair Moody himself likely performed unforgivables under license. He was known for saying constant vigilance and doing whatever it took to defeat dark wizards. He remained a force for good, but you could see the toll in his electric blue magical eye and battle scars. He was a man who had looked into the darkness too often. And then there's Harry Potter. It surprises some to learn that the boy who lived dabbled in unforgivable curses during the final war. Harry, unlike Voldemort, never once cast the killing curse, not even against Voldemort himself, in the final duel. However, as the conflict escalated, Harry found himself in situations where the forbidden spells felt like the only tools available. In the spring of 1998, Harry broke into Gringotts Bank to retrieve a crucial magical object. Faced with armed guards and impossible odds, Harry cast Imperius twice, subjugating a goblin and a Death Eater to allow him and his friends safe passage. He hated doing it, but his mission to stop Voldemort's greater evil was too important. Those Imperius curses weighed on him, but he pressed on. A short time later, during the climactic Battle of Hogwarts, Harry used Crucio in a burst of fury. One of Voldemort's Death Eaters, Amicus Carrow, had just dishonored Professor McGonagall, spitting in her face. Harry, enraged beyond thought, revealed himself and unleashed the Cruciatus Curse on Carrow. This time, fueled by protective anger, Harry's curse hit with full force, knocking Carrow out cold and leaving him thrashing in pain. In that moment, Harry crossed the line he couldn't at 15. He truly meant it, and the spell responded. It was over in an instant, Harry stunned by what he had done, but not regretting that he had stopped Carrow from doing further harm. These incidents show that even a pure-hearted wizard can use an unforgivable under extreme circumstances and survive, both physically and morally. Harry wasn't corrupted by these few uses. He was disgusted and a bit shaken, but he held on to who he was. The crucial difference is that Harry never embraced the unforgivable curses as his go-to weapons. He used them reluctantly, without cruelty, and only when no lesser magic would do. And most importantly, he never, ever attempted to cast Avada Kedavra. In Harry's final confrontation with Voldemort, he chose a disarming charm, Expelliarmus, rather than risk shattering his own soul by using a killing curse. In the end, Voldemort's own rebounding Avada Kedavra destroyed himself. Harry won the day without becoming a killer. This contrast highlights an essential truth. There is a world of difference between someone who uses an unforgivable curse once in a desperate moment, and someone who relies on them habitually. One may come back from it, scarred, chastened, determined never to cross that line again. The other, who uses such curses again and again, tends to lose themselves to the darkness they're wielding. In the wizarding world, if you find yourself casually casting unforgivable curses, it's a strong sign that you've become the very evil that society fears. Harry and others like him manage to brush against that dark power, and then pull back. Voldemort, Bellatrix and their ilk dove in and drowned in it. This is why the law is so absolute about these spells. Why the very act of casting one marks you as a dark witch or wizard. It's understood that if you can bring yourself to use these curses freely, you've crossed a moral line that separates a normal person from a monster. In the end, each unforgivable curse is more than just a particularly nasty spell. It's a test of a wizard's intentions, of their limits, of their very soul. To cast one is to violate the natural order in a way that leaves a lasting imprint. That's why they're unforgivable.